We are Jrkickz, and you're watching Chester View.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. We are here in the studio. We're about to kick things off with Jrkickz. Hey fellas, how y'all doing today?
You doing? Good.
All right, so let's first start off with learning who our fellas are from Jrkickz. So let's introduce yourselves.
I'm Brian Barrett, CEO of Jrkickz.
Andrew Nelson, Vice President of Business Operations.
Ronald Alexander, Vice President of Business Development.
All right. So how did you fellas come together to form Jrkickz?
So me and Andrew, we went to school together, and Andrew was in the military. He was studying in business and finance. Yeah. So we had our 10-year reunion, and at the 10-year reunion, I approached him. We got to talking about things that we was doing, what he been working on, what I've been working on. And when I told him that I was doing Jrkickz, he was like ecstatic about it. And he was like, man, if you need any information, just let me know. He wasn't living in the area at the time, so we did everything pretty much through text and phone call. But shortly after that, he ended up moving back in the area. So when he moved back in the area, just off of our conversations and everything, I was like, man, I gotta have this guy, on my team, because I had a team prior to, these guys, but it just, I seen that I needed more solid guys that knew what they was doing, and just had a more solid background of what they were in. So I reached out to Andrew, given the fact that his background was finance, and I was like, look, man, I need you. You'll be a perfect VP. Come on board. And he was like, man, look, I'm just moving back home, and I'm trying to get my house settled, my family settled. I could be a consultant. That's the best I could do. So I was like, all right, I respect that. I respect that. So maybe probably a few months went by, and like by this time we really, I'm going over his crib, and we talking and everything, and I was like, all right, I think now they all settled. Then ain't no more boxes laying around in the house.
I see the furniture looks very nice. And plates
they looking
and everything,
real
right?
cozy. I said, listen, man, I want you to reconsider being my VP. And he was like, man, you know what? I'm really gonna give it a long thought. I said, nah, I don't want you to just give it a long thought. I want you to really, consider what I'm saying. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna really consider it. So he called me maybe 3 days later. He was like, all right, I'm in. So I was like, bet, I got my VP.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's really how it was. I was like, so Ronald is actually my cousin. Shoot, we done been through everything together, and he always been in fashion, like literally a lot of my fashion since I got from him growing up. And when we had launched the Jrkickz apparel line, I knew I wanted to have somebody that really knew what they really knew what they was doing as far as fashion. And I went to him, and he kind of put me on the same merry-go-round as Andrew. I'll be your consultant, and I'll give you any information that you need. He kind of gave me that same spill. And then maybe probably the same timeline, probably maybe a couple months went by. I went back to him, and I think we went down to casino, and we was watching the game, and I was like, listen, you really should come on board and be, my VP of, business development. And he was like, you know what? And by I think this time he was living in Harrisburg, and then he ended up moving back. So it kind of all worked in my favor.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Yeah, so it all worked in my favor, as far as these guys. And like I said, that was probably maybe 18 months ago. And since, they came on board, like literally it's been like nonstop for us. Like I actually could say I seen the most success in these last 18 months with these guys than I have in a whole 11 years of me putting this whole company together.
What works? Teamwork.
Yeah.
So I want you guys to each give the people a thought or some words of encouragement or a nugget or two? Because Ronald, he looks like he just always, with the whole thing. I'm not gonna say her name again. I'm not even gonna say he gave me the eye. Look, he didn't even say that. He just looked at me, and I already knew. He's like, shut it down. So it's like you all seem like your minds are always going, like in preparation. Like, okay, what's the next move? What's the next thing? So if you could give someone within your areas of expertise some words of encouragement to keep going or a nugget of knowledge, what would that be?
So when it comes to us, they always say that I'm like always on business. Like
as I said, y'all just like.
But I'm like I'm a whole different breed of animal.
You bought bubblegum, but did you get staples too?
Like we could be out, we could just be having a good time, and I'll find some way to tie business into it. Like,
ooh, this glass is nice. Wait a minute, can we get this?
I am literally always business.
Is this a bank pen pick? Maybe this needs Jrkickz on it.
I think y'all, but that's really how it is. Like, it's really is that bad. It's really that
Where you
bad.
get these lollipops from? Okay.
But it really is that bad though. And they be like Bree, man, it's okay to take some time off. And I'm like, nah, we gotta keep going. We gotta find a way. And Andrew always, he's like the most poised out of all of us. Like, he's so always calm and laid back and cool. And he be like, bro, it's all right. Like,
you be halfway into a drink, like.
Bro, it's all right. Like, we gonna figure it out. And I'm like, nah, listen, we gotta be calling the banks tomorrow. We gotta be calling the lenders the next day.
How many we can get in a bundle? Come on, y'all.
It's funny though the way our dynamic is, man, because it's like this man is like just pure all the time on go, thinking about the company, and he like creative and strategy, right? And then me, I'm like the logical nerd. So it's like we all get together, and it's like it's pretty cool to see the way it works, because we all got our lane and we all bring our, I guess, pizzazz to the table, and it works together. Like, it gets whipped into this nice, moist, scrumptious cake.
Listen, this gonna be a cake you don't want to see how it was prepared, but you gonna want
to get messy in the kitchen sometimes,
Messy in the kitchen.
But then once it's all said and done, we ice the cake and serve it, and it's good.
Give somebody a tip on financing.
All right, so man, it's a billion of them. But I spoke earlier, as far as rational people live on the margin when we were earlier in the show. Another add-on to that is, like, it's really imperative to know your numbers. If you don't know the numbers of your business, if you don't know what it costs you to do this and what it costs you to do that, and how those costs play into your overall picture, you're really gonna be struggling, right? It's that small amount of data, right, over time, that makes a difference between your business being a hobby and an actual business. Because a lot of people got a hobby that they can make a couple dollars off of. But in order for you to be a fully functional business and really actually grow and track profits and be able to convey your actual company's value to somebody, you got to know your numbers. So learn your numbers.
Give us some words of encouragement.
Always mind your business. Even something as small as an idea needs to stay in-house before you're ready to reveal it. It's like never show your cards unless you're ready to play your hand.
Learn that the hard way.
Somebody will steal that card. You're like, you ain't even have a deck a minute ago. How you get the card?
Yeah.
So I have something that I saw on your website, and I want all of y'all to give me some feedback on what this states. When you waver on your price, they'll tell everyone they know that you can be persuaded to undervalue your work. Know your worth and add tax. So I like that. I mean, it's a lot more. Y'all got to go to their website, but it was just like, know your worth. What would be that encouragement to somebody who's being haggled and they really have a good product? What would your words be?
To know your worth is like to understand what you put into it. So, if you're providing a service, you got to realize that it's tied into more than just somebody being there. You have to take into accountability the cost to be there, products, profit, all that turnaround before. But everybody think it's like, a negotiation process as soon as they walk through the door. So nobody sees all the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into presenting somebody with a product before they try to low cut you.
Man, know your worth and add tax. I mean, it's nobody's gonna give you a deal when you out there grinding and doing business to create this product that you're trying to bring forth to people, right? And if you know you're bringing forth a product that's quality, right, and you putting your effort and energy into it, and in the same manner that nobody is gonna walk into Macy's and go tell the cashier, yo, let me get this for this or that. Nobody's doing that. They ask how much it is, and they go with it. In that same manner, you gotta kind of like command that same respect, because people will mix business with pleasure when it's convenient for them, right? Oh, you can't hook me up, you my homie. Flip it back on them. You can't hook me up, you my homie, right? We homies. I'm trying to do this. Support me, right? And then now I in turn take that money and then I help build something for our community and put it back in, right?
Exactly.
So like that's how you get your discounts and your reciprocity.
It's coming back one way or another.
Right.
I get some words of encouragement.
Like they both said, knowing your worth. Nobody knows the late nights. Nobody knows the early mornings. Nobody knows how hard you work to get to the point that you get to. So when you put it out there to the people, you got to understand, not as well as they got to understand how hard you pushed and how hard you fought and how much you sacrificed to get to that point. So if you always constantly giving somebody the hookup or the discount, you don't value your business the way that you say you do, because you taking a deduction every time somebody say, oh man, you too high, or oh man, I don't want to pay that. But knowing your worth makes you not only understand why you priced it the way that you priced it, but understand as much as you put into it is the reason why you priced it the way that you priced it. So always know your worth, and don't allow nobody to say what your worth is.
They didn't put the work in there.
Yep.
You can't.
If you give them that power, you can't take it back.
That is true. That is so true. It's like, oh, I got you. Okay, I could probably get a little bit more. They're going to keep pulling and pulling and pulling.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? We're going to take a break right now, and we'll be right back right after this.
Tell me, can you see it? The flashing red light of the alarm. My heart. We never used to be this. We never used to cause each other harm. These scars, I know that we can heal them.
Welcome back. We are still in the studio with Jrkickz, and let's talk about keys to success. Give us information on that.
So keys to success was something that we started because we started to have people come up to us, other entrepreneurs, business owners, asking us about, how we do the things that we do, how we grow in our company. So what we decided to do is we said, you know what, let's put, a program together where people could come get the information. We ain't gonna charge them nothing, and it could be something that not only that we do for the entrepreneurs and the business owners, but we could do it for the youth. We could do it for anybody that's interested. We could we just welcome in anybody that want the information. So the first thing that we did is we reached out to other individuals that shared the idea with us, and one of the individuals that we reached out to was a good friend of mine. He worked over at Widener, and we reached out to him, and he had a class of kids that he was mentoring, about 20 kids that he was mentoring at the time, between the ages of like 13 to 17, and so it was actually younger, and what he did was he opened up his center to us, and he said, look, y'all could come here once a month, had a class, and not only is I'm gonna let y'all use the building, but I'm gonna also let my kids sit in on a class. So we opened it up to his students, also to the public and other entrepreneurs, other business owners, and that's what kind of started the foundation of Keys to Success.
So I know everybody play a part for Keys to Success. So if someone comes to this class, and I know that I've seen both of y'all up talking, what are some of the things from your perspective that you would be sharing with them, or they can expect to get from your view?
Oh, okay. So from my perspective, like I said, I'm like the logical nerd, and I teach. So as far as the, I guess, course material is the aspect that I bring, that book knowledge part of it, right? I think that's where my lane is best. I look at life like a puzzle, right? And there's different ways to figure out how to put this puzzle together. And I take input from the creative perspective and from the just straight sheer grind perspective, right? And I listen to it and figure out what kind of business principles are applicable there, and kind of put it in a manner that people could digest it.
What can they expect to share from your expertise from the Keys to Success?
I try to push growth, changing your course, knowing what you have, trying to make it different, bringing life to your business. That's pretty much what I got.
Creativity. Yeah. But y'all all, it's interesting because y'all all seem like y'all got the same vibe, where y'all just kind of sit back and kind of watch and then brainstorm.
You got two ears and one mouth for a reason. We got two eyes. We pay attention to a lot. You see it all coming, So.
But there's some people that just shut up and listen sometimes.
Like I said earlier, even ideas, you got to keep them under your roof until you're ready to reveal it.
That is so true, because people would come and say, what you say again, huh? What was that idea? Next thing you know, they trying it.
A lot of times people come in just to absorb that information, to utilize it, to say they did it before you. So you gotta be aware of the people that's around you.
What's one of our favorite quotes from Steve Jobs?
Oh yeah, good artist copy,
great artist steal.
Yeah. Somebody say that again.
Yeah. Steve Jobs, in his infinite wisdom, said, "Good artists copy, great artists steal."
That is crazy,
iPhone.
but true.
Listen, he took a phone, he took a computer, he took a Walkman, and he put them all together. Right? He didn't really create this idea, right? He just made it first. He sat down, and then he made the idea first, right? Then somebody else came along and kind of perfected it. He learned from their mistakes and one-upped them.
Because the Palm was out before the iPhone.
Right.
It was.
BlackBerry was out before the iPhone.
Yeah.
When do you see people standing in line to get a BlackBerry?
Right. They was never smart enough though.
I loved my BlackBerry.
And now people call it a Whackberry.
I loved my BlackBerry. Listen, my husband was the one that said, you need to let this go. I was like, I need my buttons. I don't want to swipe nothing.
Just think about it like this. Like, growing up, you identified something by its brand, right? So you had Nokias, you had Nextels. You identified it by this brand.
Chirp, chirp.
iPhone came out. iPhone is just like an iPhone, and then everything else is an Android. Android's tied into, it's like a PC. It's just a bunch of stuff tied in under one thing. But he changed the game.
He definitely did.
Yeah.
When you say that, it's just like, okay, it's he like Wawa and Dunkin' Donuts.
Walk up to a 7-year-old and say, Did you hear the new Pixel 3 just came out?
What's that?
Exactly. But you'd be like, the iPhone X. They'd be like, oh yeah, my mom got that.
That's true. But like you say, he just took pieces of what other people were doing and was the first to bring it all together.
Yeah.
Woo! That was good. See, that's some stuff that make you chew right there. You got to chew on that right there, y'all. So give us all of your contact information, because y'all all have different areas. So how can people get in contact with y'all?
So if you wanted to follow the company, we're on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat at Jrkickz. That's JRKICKZ. If you wanted to follow myself, that's Breon Barrett on Facebook. That's the only personal page that I have. We also have the company website. That's www.jrkickz.com. We also have different functions, like we have the jrkickzcancer.org, and then we have the Jrkickz Foundation, which is jrkickzfoundation.org. So you can find us in many ways, or you can just Google Jrkickz and we gonna come up. Google us. We Google.
They are Googleable.
Right.
That's my word, Googleable. Now, I heard you say one time before we go that when you started, you said you wanted to do sneakers, and you had to be a sneakerhead or something. You was talking about being a sneakerhead and knowing when y'all was at Uno's, and you was like, if you really wanted to get into sneakers, if somebody came up to you and asked what was the brand new kicks, you should be able. I said, I don't know who said it, but I remember you said you had to be able to spit that off. So
it's always that guy. He's the sneaker guy. He's like, it's like being a vegetarian, but you don't like vegetables. Like, you gotta be a sneakerhead in order to love sneakers.
But it was just the way that you worded it. Like, I don't know anything about the latest sneakers, but you said you can't tell me that you're a sneaker person and you don't know the latest sneaker that comes out.
I remember what you're talking about. It's knowing your business. Like, it's no way that I can be Mr. Jrkickz or a sneaker guru and I don't know sneakers. Like, I love sneakers. Like, that is my passion. Like, literally, I do two things when I look at people. I look at their feet and I look at their head, because I'm a barber during the day and I'm a businessman at night. 24/7. Actually, 24/7. Yeah, because it never stops. But
if you go to him, you get the keys to success while you're cutting your
yeah, well, I'm cutting literally.
Like, what kind of conditioner you using? What's up?
Like, literally, but you there's no way you can be in the sneaker industry and not know what's going on in the industry. Like I said, I research the business. I stay up nights, hours, and research the information, what's going on, what companies is doing what, what's the profit margins that they looking at, what's their growth expectancy, what has they done over the last 5 years, the last 3 years, the last 10 years. How can I get Jrkickz to that level? So you gotta, is not just the sneakers, but it's the whole aspect of the industry, but being a sneakerhead, it gives you that love for the for the business, like for the industry. Like my passion for it is like what keeps me driven to be able to see different concepts of different sneakers and different styles. Like I dropped a pair of sneakers on my page the other day, and like they was crazy. It was the Vapor Max, the Nike Vapor Max, and and they was like
Cushy stuff.
these.
Okay.
They were these, but they were like these are the Vapor Max Plus. They have the regular Vapor Max. The regular Vapor Max has this sole, but it has a different top. This is a different top with the Vapor Max sole to them. So just going back to sneakers, like in order for you to know that okay, this is the Vapor Max Plus, is not the Vapor Max itself. That is a different type of sneaker. You got to be a sneakerhead to know that.
You the Home Depot with sneakers.
I'm trying. I'm trying to be. I'm
You
trying.
like, I got your keys. I got your doors. What you need? I got it all.
I'm trying. Listen, I'm trying. When you walk in the Jrkickz, listen, we got the cleaner, we got the shoestrings, we got the soles, we got the customizing over there.
Listen,
like,
while we talking shoes, what's up with the mesh sneakers that make your feet wet?
see, all right, the mesh is a new material because what it does is it helps your feet breathe, but also when you step, the material expands. So it expands and contracts. So your feet has the ability to move around in it. Most material that leather material, or is really not leather no more, is kind of like a hybrid
you got
material.
Toenails to keep those.
So that material it holds and it don't expand, or it doesn't have any like real comfort to it. So Nike and a lot of other brands like Adidas, they started coming out with the mesh material because it's a lot more comfortable.
I just saw somebody wear them and then they stepped in the puddle and it's like, oh, my foot is soaking wet. I'm like, how your foot soaking wet?
Yeah, they should have. Yeah, that was bad preparation for them. That's what that was.
Almost as bad as a woman suing McDonald's because the coffee burned her.
Ain't that crazy? Don't you want hot coffee?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was hot.
Crazy.
But she came off.
But it's coffee.
Yeah.
He's like, you know
You know what I
what?
mean?
This lady is crazy.
Warning.
I don't know how she did it, but
Mesh sneakers get wet. Stay out of
that's what I
puddles.
wanted to talk about. I'm like, they said their foot was wet. I'm like, how their
Yeah.
foot get wet?
They know not to wear canvas sneakers in the wintertime.
You know what I mean?
Why can't you wear mesh in the rain?
That is true. See, that's what I'm
Somebody should have been around to hit him with the, what we learned.
What did we learn today, people? Not to wear mesh sneakers in the rain.
Right.
He would have probably gave him a sales pitch. Well, you know they're dryable too. So.
You like, all right,
You act now.
listen, we can't change the fact that your whole foot is wet, but we can preserve your shoe.
And we got them dryers for sale.
But see, that's what I'm talking about. If someone comes in and say, yo, what type of sneaker should I get? You know, which one? Because I went to a sneaker store one time and he was just like, yeah, these support your feet. I'm like,
You want
what?
You
No,
want-
you're like, that's not an answer that I was
right,
looking
but then you
for.
gotta ask a question before you get an answer. It's like, do you want what's hot or do you want what's for you?
See, that's what I'm talking about. See, y'all know what y'all lane that y'all in. So if somebody come and ask a question, okay, are you trying to walk? Are you trying to just look cute?
Run, trying to work out. You got wide foot, narrow foot. Like you gotta know.
Like running from the cops.
You gotta know.
Right.
Listen, are you gonna be doing fast pace at night?
Boots over there.
y'all.
Oranges.
Yeah.
Right. Your arches dropped when you was 10. You couldn't play basketball. You need something for that. So it's a lot to go with it. I mean, just being, I don't know. I'm like, I just know that don't wear the soft shit, the soft Reebok, because they'll rip on you. Because I was playing one day and the fence just ripped right over. I'm like, really? My brand new sneakers just ripped?
What did we learn?
What did we learn today?
No soft
Don't pump
leather.
fences with soft
No, you can't blame it on the leather. You gotta
the
blame.
shoe. It's the shoe.
That was you playing on the fence.
I was like, listen. So listen. I put that shoe under the bed so my mom did not see that ripped shoe on the brand new sneakers. That's,
You needed a steel toe boot at that time.
I needed shell tops or something because I was like, this ain't working. That was my last pair of those because they didn't work for me. But if you want to know what works for you, check out my buddies at Jrkickz. They'll get you in the right shoe, the right bathing suit, the right jogging suit, the right hat. They got it all. Listen. Look, come on. Give it again. Oh, shucks now.
I left mine in the car.
You love it, but you got the hat. So you got to tip to the hat, tip to the camera, Oh, there it is. And look at it, match the watch. You could just like, listen, brand and everything right here. Bam, bam, bam. Flick of the wrist.
Jrkickz watch is coming soon too.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Listen, did you get the eye? They're like, all right, plug. Well, guys, I thank y'all so much for hanging out with us today. It was a pleasure. So we're looking forward to many more products that y'all have coming out, and we will definitely support you guys. So thank you again.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Tell me, can you see it?